Hello and welcome to day one of our Facebook Lives about anxiety. So I'll just wait a couple of minutes before people jump on to start, but also I will be posting this as a replay afterwards. So if you can't get on at 6 o'clock Sydney time each evening, don't worry, I will be posting to the page as well. If you have any questions relating to what I talk about each day, just pop them on the current thread. If you have any questions in regards to what we're speaking about, please pop them on the thread and say replay, so I know that I have not missed you on the live, so I can come back and answer your question on that post. So I see that we have a few people watching, so welcome and thanks for being here. So I don't really have a structure for what we're going to be talking about each day on the lives or how it's going to go. I think I'm just going to do it intuitively, so of what we need each day, and perhaps intuitively of those that attend the lives and are watching the replay. So sorry, I'm just a little bit distracted. We have a strange dog by the fence. So hi Donna, thanks for being here. So I want to start off by saying that anxiety can affect anyone at any time. There's no set time anxiety will present, no set personality trait that it affects more. It probably does affect women more than it does men. And I'm going to say, not from a science or psychology point of view, but I would say that it affects women more than men because in general women are more in tune with their emotions and tend to allow themselves to feel their emotions more than men. That's just a general guide. Anxiety, I'd say in general we have an underlying predisposition to anxiety if you're going to get it. So you might find before it presents that you might have been a nervous person, someone that worries a lot, but it's very different to anxiety. That's, I guess, like what's always sitting there in the background. And it just takes something, a catalyst to trigger and change that or move it from the next step, going from that worrying or that nervousness to anxiety. And then I guess once that anxiety has presented, you're far more easily triggered to getting anxiety again. So that whatever has triggered that anxiety, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to have that anxiety around that. It could mean that it can present at any time in regards to any situation. So it's quite common to have social anxiety, like get anxiety if you're meeting new people, stuck in a meeting or in a room with people that you don't know because you're out of your comfort zone. Many people will get anxiety if they have to do a talk or speak in front of other people. Quite often anxiety revolves around judgment as to how you're being perceived in that moment. Hello to everyone that's commenting, but I would like, if anybody is on that has anything to say or questions or share anything in regards to what I'm talking about, to please feel free to share. This is a safe zone, it's a judgment-free zone. Most likely you're watching because you experience anxiety, so you want, you're all in the same boat. And just because one person experiences their anxiety one way doesn't mean that it can't be expressed very differently by the next person. Everyone will experience their anxiety relating to their life experiences, what they're going through at the time, and maybe how healthy they are as to how they can manage their emotions and their anxiety at the time. Because you'll notice that when you have it, Sometimes it might be more exaggerated than others. So you have to look at, why is it different? Is it because the situation's different? Is it because maybe that week or, that day that you've been supporting yourself with self-care, really looking after your diet, things like that, so therefore you're more grounded, more capable of managing your emotions? Because when you're ungrounded, when you're not when you're really drained and really low energy, when you're really tired, when you've not been looking after what you've been eating, it's very easy for you to get stuck into a state of anxiety. And it's very easy for you to, not just anxiety, but to fly off the handle about anything and really get triggered because your body is not physically grounded in, and you're not able to support yourself and not able to support the emotions that you're feeling. So therefore you'll feel them much more heightened, much more exaggerated. And I also would like to say that anxiety is merely it's a symptom. It's not the issue. Anxiety is just how your issues are expressed. And when I say your issues, or maybe that's not the right word, but whatever has triggered or is the cause of your anxiety is the real issue. It's the anxiety is just how your body has chosen to express it because it wants to get your attention. So something's biting me and it's just really annoying me. I'd just like to say that because it's just a symptom, so obviously whatever has caused it has been there for quite a lot of time. And because it has been left unacknowledged, unworked with, and unhealed and unloved, it has to grab your attention. So it's coming out in an extreme form, so you can't ignore it anymore. You can't sweep it under the carpet. You can't say it's not affecting me, it's not a problem, because it actually is. Cassandra, I've recently gone back onto medication for my anxiety and depression to a lesser degree due to personal circumstances over the past several months. Quite often, anxiety, how do I say this? Most likely, if you have anxiety, you have depression first, and anxiety comes either after the depression or as a form of depression. They often go hand in hand. Now, it's not the right word either, but when I say depression's a funny thing, it doesn't mean that you're necessarily mean that you're depressed and moping around, sitting in the corner crying. It also doesn't mean that you can't laugh and that you can't have fun. Depression, we're not talking about that today, but depression is very different, but they do go hand in hand. So if you have depression, you're quite likely to have the anxiety as well, because I think depression is more the issue, not really the issue, but then anxiety is more the symptom, if you get what that means. And don't be ashamed of having to go on medication for the anxiety or for the depression, because if that helps you cope in the day-to-day, then you need to do that. But also know that it's not the be-all and end-all just because you're on medication. It means that if you can start getting grips on your life, if you can start working through your stuff, that is your starting point. So it gives you something to work with, and it really helps you find some balance and calms things down and gives you a bit more perspective. Gluten gives you depression. Well, that's quite interesting, because the foods that we eat really affect our body. And everyone is different as to what foods affect them differently. And gluten doesn't support the body because it's even though it is naturally occurring within wheat, it is more of the process of modern day foods that causes the problem. Because I'm pretty sure that if we turn back the clock, say 100 years, before we had refrigerators, before we had anything that allowed our food to last longer, to stay on the shelves, people didn't die of the same health issues. We didn't have all these same things. It's all the processing and the refining of foods that causes the issue. So I'm going to have to read these really quickly, because now that people are commenting, I'm going to lose them. Deb says, I have suffered anxiety since I was a child. Medication I don't feel is helping me. I rarely leave the house because of it. I'm going to touch on that. I'll come back to you, Deb, and I'm going to touch on that in a minute. Kayla says, I find that when I need to confront a situation that makes me worried or uncomfortable, my anxiety plays up and I feel restless, nail biting, shaking, funny tummy, etc. And I'll answer that too. I'll answer those together. Anxiety doesn't stem from just one thing. Anxiety is like peeling an onion. And how did you get to the point that you're at today? Now, if I look at myself, I can say it could be this, it could be that, it could be lots of things. And you know what? It's all of those things. Anxiety started one day with something that made you uncomfortable. Anxiety started with something that didn't sit with you. Anxiety started with something that made you feel unworthy, unloved, judged, less than. It rocked your world. So then you drew in more experiences to validate that feeling. And then, so let's just use an example. Let's say as a child, you got in trouble because you played outside and you didn't come in when you were called. And you think, perhaps as a child, we didn't realise that, maybe we were just so engrossed in what we were playing with that maybe we didn't hear Mum calling us. Maybe we did, but, we lost track of time. I'll just come in a second. And, by this time, Mum's really cranky. It might only be 5 minutes and you can't see what the big deal is. But now Mum's really cranky because, maybe she wanted you to come in now because you were going out. So now Mum's really cranky because Mum is late. And you just don't understand what the big deal is because she called you and ultimately you came inside. So now it's, okay, so every time Mum calls me, I'm going to get in trouble. And maybe I relate that back to every time I go outside, I'm going to get in trouble. But on a conscious level, you don't remember that. You just know when Mum calls my name, that's a bad thing. When I go outside, that's a bad thing. So we also then wrap that around, so we're getting in trouble, so we've done the wrong thing and we can't see why. Then we wrap that around our judgment. We create beliefs around that are untrue. We then, and it then just goes on and on. So let's just say if we then think about judgment, it can get then out of hand that, I'm not good enough, or I'm unworthy, or I'm undeserving. And then it gets out of hand again, and it just steamrolls on and on and on. And then it attaches to more and more things that make us feel less than, or not good enough, or feel bad in certain situations. So it's like unraveling an onion. It started off with one thing, but we didn't process it, we didn't do anything with it, we didn't find perspective with it, we didn't accept it, we didn't love it. And then it's really gotten out of hand that our anxiety is so far removed from what the initial cause was that it's become so many different things. Every time we hear someone call our name, it's like, oh no, what have I done wrong now? When they could be just calling you to say hello. But our initial instinct is dread or fear or something's wrong. Or maybe you feel unsafe outside because it goes back to that day of I was outside and I got in trouble. So if I'm outside, I'm unsafe. I hope that I've explained that clearly to make you understand how things can snowball from one very small, seemingly innocent situation to where you are now, and how things get out of control. And anxiety is when we get to the point that we are in overload of not acknowledging or loving or accepting our stuff or finding the right perspective, that we need to do something about it. And we haven't done anything about it, and it has gone unacknowledged. So instead of trying to heal the anxiety, we need to go in and look at how we feel and what is causing the anxiety. So these are really only supposed to be really short, like 10-minute videos each day, because I don't want to give you too much information all at once, because then you become overloaded, and you begin to overthink, and that in turn causes more anxiety. I want to give you just a little bit each day to go away, think about and process and see how it works for you. So with everything that I'm talking about, I don't want you to get stuck in your head. I want you to think about it, process it, and go, you know what? If that really doesn't feel right for me, really don't think that's right, then just let it go. Because not everything will resonate with everybody at the same time, because we're all at different stages of our growing and learning and understanding. Trying to make something of something that you don't understand will just get you more anxious. Deb, thank you. You have spoken so many truths already in what you have said. I'm glad. Because sometimes I know what I want to say, but it just doesn't come out the way I'm thinking of it in my head. So I want to leave you with one little takeaway each day of how you can work with your anxiety. Linda says, thank you for the information as I suffer from anxiety. So the little tip that I want to leave you with today is, I want you to check in with yourself often as to how you're feeling. So make sure that you're in a quiet space alone to do this. So if you're at work, take yourself off to the bathroom. Do it when you have a lunch break and you're by yourself. Take yourself maybe outside. Do this when you're by yourself. You can do it regularly throughout the day, maybe every couple of hours, or morning, lunch and evening, or when you're in a state of overwhelm or any type of emotion arises and it feels like it's going to take over. I want you to take that time out, step away, and just check in with yourself. Just ask yourself in that moment, what is it that I need? And don't be quick to jump in and answer. Just wait for something to come. Feel in your body what it is that you might need. It could be simply, you know what? I just needed to take this time out for myself. I needed to take myself out of the situation and put some distance between me and what just happened or what I just experienced. It might be that maybe, hang on, I haven't had enough water today. So I need to rehydrate. And when you rehydrate, your body then allows yourself to process more easily, for the energy to keep moving. Because if you stop drinking water, it doesn't you're not rehydrated. The energy has become stuck in the body and it's not moving through, and you have energy blockages and things like that. So maybe you just need a drink of water. Maybe you need to sit down for a minute and just journal and get those feelings out. Write down what it is that you need. Maybe it is, hang on, I need to say something to someone. So maybe you need to get something off your chest. But if you're going to do that, maybe you need to work out how to say it in a constructive way, not say it through the eyes of emotion, but say it constructively. Maybe you need to have something to eat, and I would suggest something not sweet, not carbohydrate, but maybe a piece of fruit or celery stick or some nuts or something, just something to bring you back down, bring the energy back into your body. Maybe you need to go for a short walk or move your body or do some exercises or something. Because when you have anxiety, when you're highly emotional, all the energy is in your head. And that is where you're thinking and that is where you're feeling it, and you're in that flight mode. When you bring the energy back into your body, that's when you can feel that peace and that calm, and maybe you can find perspective and just find that balance again. So that's my little takeaway from today. Just try that and just see what it is that your body says that you need. Maybe it says that you need to give yourself a hug. Maybe it says that you need to say some kind words to yourself. Maybe you need to reassure yourself that no matter what happens, that you're safe, that you're still loved, that I don't know, but whatever it is that you need at that moment. And it's usually something really, really simple. So I'd love for you to try that and come back, whether it be later tonight or tomorrow, and just come back and post on this thread what you did, what you found that you needed, and how it actually worked for you. So I'm going to leave you there, and thank you for watching. I'm going to post this to the page, and I will see you tomorrow at 6 o'clock. Thank you for being here, and I look forward to tomorrow. Thanks a lot. Bye.